I guess it's hard for me to understand. Well, then how do we get back to yourself?
I really think he's giving me time to grieve all the losses. Because you lose one, and then like a couple of years, there's another one, and grieve. Yes, I have cried. So I kind of had to stay strong, and then I fall, and it's so hard for me to come back. But I know I am hard on myself. I've always been very, very hard on myself.
Hi, you're tuning in to the Bad Catholic Podcast. I'm your host, Trisha Espinosa, a former award-winning TV executive turned life and leadership coach, mentor, author, and speaker. And this podcast is for anyone who, like me, feels like a bad Catholic, but maybe is trying to be a good one. Joining me are my parents. Mom Toni is spiritual director, and Dad David, a deacon. Every week I ask them questions about their faith, but what I'm really trying to get at is, what does being a good Catholic really mean? Welcome to the family.
Okay, I think this conversation needs to be had because I'm feeling the same way I think we all are right now in our family.
Yeah.
Because a lot has been going on.
Right.
In all of our lives. And it has hit a point where we're in this very odd situation where we're all living under the same roof right now, which has not happened, I don't think, since 1993.
Right.
Right. And so it's all of it's interesting how God all brought us to this place at this moment in time.
Yes.
Right? Because I think I had no intention of leaving Madrid. But I have to listen to this voice. And Lisa, she also had this feeling, you know what? It's time for me to do something completely different in my life. Sold her condo in Dallas, decided she's going to travel the country, which is amazing.
Right.
But she's going to go to San Antonio to put all her stuff in storage, regroup, kind of come up with her game plan before moving forward in March. She's still at home.
Yeah.
So our trips collided. So we're both at home at the same time. And now we're in June. And there's big reasons why we were still there.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And, my uncle, your brother, passed away a month ago, yesterday.
Yes.
And that was difficult. Grandpa we don't know. He surprises us.
Yes, yes.
But it's been difficult to see him declining and alone and in a nursing home and not at his house. And it's difficult to see, from my perspective, you and Dad struggling so much. And this is a new part of our lives.
Yeah.
And it is very difficult for Lisa and I. It's difficult for you and Dad. And we're all together.
Yeah.
At this moment. And it's easy to say, well, this is God's will. We're all here. He brought us together to support one another. But it doesn't make what we're going through any easier.
Correct.
And just coming to do this podcast. We're like, why decide to do a podcast right now? But this is the time we were given. And
yeah,
to be honest, our hearts are breaking right now. And we have to show up. And it's very difficult to do. And so I think in life, we have to give ourselves grace.
Yeah, we do.
And so I guess my question for you is, right now you're going through a really hard time. Where do you find God's grace in all of this?
That's right now. That's very difficult to answer. I really, at this moment, I'm so broken. I can't seem to find it. And I know he's right by my side. I know that. But at this moment, I really can't seem to find the strength or find his wisdom or his courage or even his peace. My faith is still the same. I know he's there, but I guess I just have to say I'm human. I'm human, and I just like he had feelings, as a human, because he was human. He was man. I just feel like this past 2 years, it's finally, it's been a rough 2 years for our family, and right now I'm just like, I don't know how much more I can deal with. And it's hard to find God's grace in this, but I know eventually I will. I will. Just God's timing. I know he's by my side. I know he's in this situation. It's just tiring. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of, not knowing when. So no, I'm being honest right now. I just can't. I can't seem. I feel numb. I don't feel anything.
And in that numbness, has your relationship with him changed? Or do you continue to do whatever your routine was or whatever your relationship with him was like before? Do you continue down that road?
I have trouble sometimes in my prayer life, my spiritual life, but I do. I still pray, but not like me.
Like sin ganas?
Right. Like I have to continue being, have that relationship with him. But I know he knows my heart. And as long as I cry out to him, to me that's prayer. Just as long as I cry out and say, and I do, driving over here, I'll say, Jesus, Lord, I don't have the words to tell you. I don't. Just know that I trust in you. And that's basically what I've been doing. I'll pray a rosary here or there, or just talk to him. At night, every time I lie down, I just help me. Just be with me. Be with us all. Because all of us are going through something as a family and as individuals.
Yeah. I think that's something that I'm learning to do, is to just include him in my day.
Yes.
And that way of saying, I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't always have to be this prayer.
Exactly.
And so I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I now think of him. My relationship with changed a lot throughout my life to so many. He's had so many different, I don't want to say faces because I can't put a face to God, right? But right. I can, a feeling. And so the feeling has changed throughout my life. And now he feels like a father.
Yes.
That's someone that I can talk to. And it's not in this form of prayer a lot of time, especially right now.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Yes, it's hard.
It is hard, and sometimes it's just easier to talk to him like he's my friend, like he's my dad. What's this about? Mm-hmm. Why am I feeling this way?
Yes.
Or just, I'm sorry. Sorry, I was talking smack about somebody, and I'm just in a bad mood, and I didn't sleep well, and this is where I'm at, and I'm just, sometimes it doesn't, I think, am I being disrespectful? But he can hear it all anyway. I don't even have to say it, and he knows it.
Right. So I always tell him, you made me, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. So I'm sorry, you made me this way. So,
yeah. So when you wake up, what is usually your first thing you do?
I open my eyes and I just say, I really do. Thank you, Jesus, for another day. And, be with me today. Be with my family. And I get up and I start my coffee, and I haven't done my morning prayers because you know how the house has been kind of every single room in my house. But I don't do my usual morning prayers, my rosary. I haven't done that in a few weeks, where I would get up, go get my coffee, and then sit there, and with him in my thoughts and pray my rosary and pray a novena or a chaplet. My favorite chaplet is St. Michael. But I haven't been doing that ever. I mean, it's been a while. Yesterday,
Do you miss it?
Oh, I do. I miss it very much. But yesterday I did. I went upstairs and I did get through the rosary. The Divine Mercy, I started it, but, I know I should have continued, but I was just not in the mood. I was not in the mood. So I just grabbed all my little books on, that I usually carry, the Forgive. I think I got one from my forgiveness book, and another one on novenas. And I just keep asking him, help me get back. Help me get back. Because I do miss it. I'm not the same person without my prayer life.
So do you think that when we're in these moments where we are so, like you said, broken, and we're not relying on prayer, you miss it, but it's so hard to do it?
Yes.
I guess it's hard for me to understand, well, then how do we get back to yourself?
I really think he's giving me time to grieve all the losses. Because it's, you lose one, and then like a couple of years, there's another one. And I really haven't grieved like like I usually do, where just grieve. And I haven't done that. Yes, I have cried. But to where I write it down and I talk and tell him things, I have not done that since. I didn't do it with Joe either. But I think he's just giving me time to feel, because sometimes I feel like I have to be this strong and no one can see me crying. No one can, I feel like I have to be the strong one. Why? I don't know. But I know eventually I will get back. I just need the grieving to be over. I need to feel peace in my heart, which I don't feel right now. And I know why. We don't know about Grandpa, and I'm worried about your dad. Worried about you guys, even though he tells me I got him. Don't worry about it. But I still do, but not as bad as I used to. So I think he's just giving me time to grieve. And yes, I do reach out to him, just not, devotional prayer. Because that's what it is, devotional prayer. When you pray the rosary, they're just devotionals. But I do talk to him. So I think there's a big difference. I'm just used to my devotionals, which I miss. But I still do talk to him.
So knowing that you know what you need, So why do you think you haven't grieved?
Life. Just life. It's like I said, there was a lot of stuff going on when Joe passed away. So I kind of had to stay strong for that moment. And of course, when Joe passed away, that's when Emilio got sick again. Mm-hmm. So it was hard to grieve Joe, because then here's Emilio having, the bout with cancer again. And I think that whole time I've been focusing on Emilio and praying for him and Grandpa. So I really think that's why. And now it's just been like boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And it's just, I haven't been able to.
Do you think you're being too hard on yourself about what grieving looks like?
I'm always hard on myself. That's just the way I am. I'm always hard on myself. I'm like Mary Magdalene, gosh, I try to be such a good disciple, but I know I'm not, or I don't feel worthy, and then I fall, and it's so hard for me to come back, that but I know I am hard on myself. I've always been very, very hard on myself, but that's how I survive.
Well, I heard you say you're not grieving, or I heard you say
I haven't been able to grieve.
You haven't been able to grieve, but this is you grieving. This is what it looks like. So what is it that you're really saying?
It's just the brokenness that I feel in my heart. It's the emptiness that I feel in my heart, that I can't seem to deal with it, to let go. I mean, I know in my heart that everything's okay, but somehow I just haven't been to, maybe the word is closure. Maybe that's what it is. I just, it's not fear. I don't fear any. It's just, I don't know. I just, this heaviness in my heart that just doesn't go away.
Do you expect it to anytime soon?
It never goes away. It never goes away, but it's totally different for some reason this time. I know. I grieve my mother and my sister. Totally different. And it's just this time. And I'm just not talking about Emilio. I'm just talking about overall. Just looking back and trying to deal with the loneliness that I feel.
From losing so many family members.
Yes.
So you're sitting in your grief?
Yes, I am.
And you're being hard on yourself because you're expecting that you're going to feel better quicker? It makes no sense.
I'm expecting God to just all of a sudden give me this hug and say, you're good again.
Wouldn't that be weird?
Oh, that would be awesome.
No. But that's not,
no,
that doesn't make sense if you woke up and suddenly you felt.
No, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Why do you think you're here talking about this right now?
Because, like they say, for I know the plans I have for you, and He knows we follow His plan. And yeah, I question a lot of things. Why am I here? Driving over here. Oh Lord, I'm not up to this. Why? What am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? I just, just like when I walked in, I'm not feeling it. He knows. I guess just so I can sit here and cry and talk to you about it.
Maybe you just needed a moment to get this off your chest. And it's crazy that it's in this setup, in this situation. Because at home,
No,
you won't.
no, I don't, yeah. Because I know David's going through a hard time. Why am I going to talk to him about, and not only David, you and Lisa, I mean, your grandfather, so it's like, why am I bringing this pain? Of course, I'm the same. I love Dad with all my heart, but I feel selfish. Why am I over here, wanting to talk about my brother or what I'm feeling? I mean, why? When you guys are the same. You're broken too. You're walking on eggshells. So yeah. Remember I told you I wanted to go away, get away for a few days? I think that's just it. Just so I can cry and yell and scream and that's, yeah.
Well, I think if you were to tell anybody, don't come back home. Go do your errands, because I need to yell and scream. I don't think any of us would say,
Okay.
no, we wouldn't say no. We'd say, oh, yeah. And then maybe tomorrow I'll do it. And then maybe the next day Lisa will do it. But we will always hold space for you.
I know you will. I know you will. I know you. And also try to be strong, because I know you too worry about me, which is sweet. But just like you, sometimes I just have to deal with things on my own. And I know I have the support, the love from my family. It's just, that's the way I've always dealt with things, by myself.
Well, not completely by yourself.
No, not completely by myself. Just he and I.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being very, very honest about your grief. And I'm glad you're finally letting something out, some emotion out, because we see you at home trying to be strong. Instead, you just end up being very grumpy, which we understand, or a zombie. But it's okay. We get it. We get it. And like you said, we're also going through our own stuff. So we can in turn also be that way. It's a very interesting household right now.
Yes.
It's a very interesting household right now. But one of the things we're doing as a family, which is quite amazing, is that we're watching The Chosen.
Yes.
And that, I think, is something that I don't think it was by accident, because Lisa and Dad were very sort of resistant to watching it.
Right.
We've been telling them to watch this series forever.
Forever, yes.
And so you and I talk about it all the time. Like, ooh, did you see it? Did you see it? But now we are rewatching it while they're watching it for the first time.
Yes.
And so what has that been like?
Once again, unanswered prayer. Unanswered prayer. And wow, well, your dad has always been, in the church and stuff like that. But what amazes me is that even though he thinks he knows the Bible, he still asks questions.
I could imagine, many how do you say it? Theologians ask questions too.
Yes.
No matter how much you know, there's always something to learn.
No, it's just amazing how I don't know what it is about that show, but it really just, you see yourself in that moment with him. Like yesterday, the hemorrhaging woman. It was, I mean, I know we were all crying. We were all crying because it was so beautiful. And Lisa will say, wow, it's like he's talking to me. I think that's what she told me the other day. It's like, oh, we really, I mean, need to get into more of the religion, because the chosen is like, he's really just there. And I said, yeah. So that episode yesterday when he was talking, it was like he was just looking at me, and whatever he was telling Mary or Simon, it was directed towards me. And it's been a beautiful experience, to the point like tonight I'm working late and I don't want you all to watch it without me, even though I've already
You've already seen it how many times? Yeah,
Yes.
but we're getting on the finale of season 3.
I know.
So that's
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful that I think finally my prayers of, you and Lisa coming back home, coming back to the church, and then just being with him, just knowing him and having a relationship with him. I'm seeing it, and it just brings a smile to my heart. Like with grief, there's joy and happiness. And yeah, I mean, he shows me those little moments, and, lets me know I'm still here. I haven't left you. I'm here.
It is about those little moments at times like this that I think we could easily disregard or be blind to.
Yes.
And that is one of the things I'm working at, in seeing, really being curious throughout my day of, could this be a little whisper he's giving me? And sometimes I think, am I making this up?
No. One thing that I see or hear his joy, and even your dad and I talk about it when it's happening, is hearing you and Lisa just laugh. Just laugh. And it brings joy to a heart to hear that in our home. And that's what your dad and I the other night said. Like, God, those girls laugh a lot. And I'm like, yeah, it's so good to hear them. So to me, that's another little...
We were laughing our asses off yesterday to the point where I was crying. I was laughing so hard. And that is such a, our relationship wasn't always the best.
Right.
And so I am just so grateful for her.
Yes, I'm sure she feels the same way about you.
Yeah. So it's such gratitude that I have a sister that she's amazing. And we get along so well now.
Yes,
like,
you do.
Who would have thunk?
Yes. We see Jesus laughing with his disciples, and that's how I see you and Lisa. Like, you just so... It with everything that's going on, you'll still have that joy in your hearts.
When I was planning on coming back to the United States, she wasn't going to be in San Antonio anymore.
Right.
And so the fact that she was here when I arrived just felt so good.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. I was like, you can't leave.
Complete, right.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you feel right now compared to when you walked in?
Oh, better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Why do you think that is?
Because he's here.
He was here before.
Yeah, he's here. I guess because I was able to talk about it. And don't make me cry anymore.
You can grieve any way you want.
I know.
And loudly if you need to.
I will do that.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm really hungry. So if we could end this early and grab some food.
Okay.
I would prefer that.
I had no breakfast.